Good afternoon. My name is Andy Hallman. Later, we'll hear about the state track qualifying night. But first, today's top stories. A Polk County jury returned a verdict against the Iowa Department of Corrections and awarded a former employee of the Mount Pleasant Correctional Facility $1.25 million. That employee was Jennifer Wilson Brady, who filed a lawsuit claiming retaliation from the department for submitting a complaint alleging sex discrimination in the workplace. After a 4-day jury trial, nearly 2 years of litigation, and almost 3 years of fighting, Wilson Brady finally received vindication when the court entered the judgment in her favor and awarded $250,000 in past emotional distress and $1 million in future emotional distress, plus interest and court costs. The plaintiff's petition to the court, filed in August of 22, defined the result of the Department of Corrections' acts and omissions, stating, "Plaintiff has in the past and will in the future suffer damages, including but not limited to mental and emotional distress, fear, anguish, humiliation, embarrassment, medical, therapeutic, and other expenses, lost enjoyments of life, lost wages, benefits, future earnings, and other emoluments of employment." Wilson Brady began working as a food service coordinator in the kitchen at the Mount Pleasant Correctional Facility in February of 2021. While Wilson Brady said she loved her job and felt a calling toward it, things changed while still in her 6-month probationary period. Her complaint alleged that Byron Stevens, a food services coordinator for the Iowa Department of Corrections, instigated a sustained campaign of sex-based discrimination against her. The brief details the sex discrimination experienced by Wilson Brady, stating that Stevens undercut Wilson Brady's authority with inmates, creating a safety risk, screamed at her, and invaded her personal space. Wilson Brady said receiving the judgment felt surreal and noted the process of suing any governmental entity is a long and tedious one. The Fairfield High School auditorium was officially renamed the Mitchell-Tree-Selecta Edgton Performing Arts Auditorium during a dedication ceremony Tuesday night, May 7th. The ceremony was sandwiched between the performances of the FHS band and choir for their spring concert and included the 3 honorees taking the stage to accept the recognition. A plaque was unveiled in the auditorium's lobby depicting Linda Mitchell-Tree, Scott Selecta, and Jim Edgton, their years of teaching at the high school, and their accolades. The plaque includes the line, "These teachers used their passion for the performing arts to instill a love of music and theater in their students." The 3 teachers said they liked that this was a shared honor, especially since the 3 of them had collaborated on musicals performed on that very auditorium stage. Mitchell-Tree directed the choir at FHS from 1983 to 2009. Selecta taught English and led the drama department from 1984 to 2017. And Edgton directed the band from 1992 to 2021. Selecta said that even though he had his own drama productions while Mitchell-Tree and Edgton had their musical concerts, the 3 always supported each other's endeavors. Edgton said that included volunteering to do lights or sound or working backstage. The idea to rename the FHS auditorium after Mitchell-Tree, Selecta, and Edgton came from former FHS principal Ralph Messerly, who was responsible for hiring all 3 of them. Messerly asked Chuck Drobny for help in soliciting letters from parents and former students who wrote about the impact those 3 teachers had on their lives. The 2 presented these letters to the school board in January. The board agreed the recognition was richly deserved and voted to rename the auditorium. Siblings Danielle Hill and Dylan Fry are renovating the former WinCorp building on West Grimes Avenue in Fairfield. The brother-sister pair purchased the building from the former owner in April and immediately got to work gutting the interior. They are remodeling the building inside and out and will turn it into a series of offices. In addition to the new offices, Impact Fitness and Sports Performance will move into the newly renovated space as well. That business is owned and operated by Danny and her husband, Brady Hill. This move will allow the gym to more than triple in size from 3,800 square feet in its current location on South Main Street to 12,000 square feet in its soon-to-be home. Danny and Dylan said they hope to have the new offices and new gym space ready to move into by fall. Danny is the oldest of the 4 Fry children, and Dylan is the youngest, though they're only 5 years apart. Nevertheless, Danny said it didn't feel that the 2 current business partners did that much together during their childhood because of the age gap and their differing interests. They both said it's been fun to work together as adults and spend time with each other's families. Dylan said it gives the kids a chance to see what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Brian Thomas has stepped down as director of Jefferson County Ambulance, and the county supervisors have appointed base manager Judy Heisel as interim ambulance director. Thomas ended his role as ambulance director on April 22nd, but he will remain on administrative leave until July 12th. He said he is continuing to work with Heisel to train her in the duties of ambulance director while he is on leave. The supervisors accepted Thomas's resignation and thanked him for his work and dedication. Supervisor Lee Dimmitt said Thomas built an ambulance service from the ground up, playing a critical role in launching the new county-run ambulance service on October 1st, 2023, when it took over the responsibility from Care Ambulance. Thomas said he decided to step down from his position for a couple of reasons. Number one, he felt it was difficult to fit in, that he wasn't fully accepted because he was an outsider. And number two, he saw that ambulance-based manager Judy Heisel was well-respected, competent, and had the experience necessary to take on the role of ambulance director if he chose to leave. Heisel said Thomas's resignation came as a surprise to her, but she feels that her 20-plus years in emergency services have prepared her well for taking on this new responsibility. A new store held its grand opening last Friday, celebrating the start of business at Gunny Sack Designs in downtown Washington. Owner Brandy Parsons said the shop was part art supply retailer, part creative studio, part gallery, and part art lesson space. She said it's a creative art space for all ages and abilities. Parsons said she started Gunny Sack Designs 4 years ago as a vintage furniture modification shop run out of a trailer. After an accident 2 years later that broke her leg in several places, Parsons said she started painting more. Selling her work led others to ask for lessons, starting in Kyoto but growing fast to include people from other communities. Parsons said Washington fell right in the middle of her clients' communities and said she was delighted to find a storefront so close to the square. Longtime attendees of Blissed Out Wellness Yoga sessions held their last formal class together April 24th as owner Melissa Turner plans to move on from the lessons. And while the moment was emotionally bittersweet, Turner said the energy in the room was great as about 25 attendees, who affectionately called themselves yogis, gathered for the flow. After 8 years leading the yoga class, Turner said it was time to move on. As her kids grow older and more active, she said time with them was starting to trade off with the yoga classes, which happen at night, in the early mornings, and on weekends. On top of that, she said attendance to the lessons had fallen over the years. After a fire at the Griner building in 2022 moved the studio to the former location of Federation Bank, Turner said she was left with a handful of dedicated regulars, but not many other attendees. Without any other consistently available instructors to take her place, she made the tough call to end the yoga side of the business. She will still own and operate Blissed Out Wellness, which also offers massage therapy and sound healing. Classmates say the activity has brought them physical, mental, and spiritual health. It's also yielded a tight-knit community of folks who say they would not have met if not for yoga. Those are today's top stories. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll hear about the state track qualifying night.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Welcome back to Newsbreak, everyone. This is your sports editor, Andy Krutzinger, with your sports update for Thursday, May 9th, 2024. And it is a very significant day in Iowa high school athletics, as the state qualifying track meets will be taking place here in a matter of hours, 4 o'clock around the state of Iowa. And we have some qualifying in our own area at Mount Pleasant at Maple Leaf Athletic Complex. The 3A boys and girls will be going at it. That's Fairfield, Washington, and Mount Pleasant. Top two from every event move on to the state qualifier, or to the state meet, and there'll also be some at-larges. But bottom line, you get top two tonight at Maple Leaf Athletic Complex. You are in. Again, Fairfield, Washington, Mount Pleasant, all in the 3A qualifier in Mount Pleasant. In 2A at Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont High School, Mid-Prairie, Van Buren County, and Cardinal will all be in action. And then our 1A teams will be in Sigourney, Columbus. This is in Sigourney, Columbus Community, Highland, Hillcrest, Keota, New London, Pekin, Waco, and Winfield Union are all in Sigourney tonight. So winners in those qualifiers in Class 1A move on, as well as some at-larges. And speaking of moving on to state, we've had a little bit of that this week, including in boys tennis. Fairfield's Rumen Luau, who has been the number one golfer, or the number one tennis player for the Fairfield Trojans all year. Yesterday at the district meet in the singles tournament, he comes in as the number 2 seed here, and he wins the district. Luau beat his first opponent 6-0, 6-0, next 6-1, 6-2. That set him up against Brady Johnson of Xavier for a chance at the state meet, and he wins 6-3, 6-0 in that semifinal. He's going on to state, and just to put the cherry on top, he actually defeated Bennett Lynx of Xavier in the championship, which could help his seeding when he gets up to Waterloo to that boys state tournament. So that's our only qualifier. Mount Pleasant and Maharishi were also in that qualifier, but not to be for those two schools. In boys golf, we had the first round of a little bit of qualifying. Sectionals were yesterday. As far as our big schools are concerned, Washington moves on at the sectional in Mount Pleasant to the district meet in Oskaloosa. As a team, Roman Roth is your medalist. Rajan Roth is your second place medalist, your medalist runner-up. That was a first place as a team overall for them. And Mount Pleasant's Reese Kaufman moves on as an individual. No other teams, Fairfield and Mount Pleasant, are both of that. They did not move on. In small school golf, Winfield Union moves on as a team. They got second at the local 1A sectional. They will move on to districts. They had 3 in the top 6. Carter Lloyd 4th, Justin Eifert 5th, and Cody Milks 6th. Also in that, we had a couple of individual qualifiers after the teams, and one of those was Cohen Fitzpatrick of New London. So those guys are one step away from the state meet. In soccer, it was a huge night last night for boys soccer as Washington and Fort Madison showed down with the Southeast Conference on the line. Demons and Bloodhounds were tied 0-0 until the 71st minute when Kevin Marcelino threw the ball into Isaac Gentry, and he settles it right on target. Back post, upper corner. That's a direct quote from Coach Sally Hart. 1-0 winner for the Washington Demons, and 8 saves made by goalie Braden Tappan in that one. So 1-0 over Fort Madison. That knocks down Fort Madison to 2 losses in the conference, and that means your Washington Demons are the 2024 SEC Boys Soccer Champions. And a lot of those girls regionals, boys district soccer will be taking place next week. We've got Super Conference semifinals in Waco tomorrow night, Friday night. So everything is going to be deep into the postseason. We are getting right down to the thick of it here in spring sports. And a reminder, by the way, everyone in those track meets that qualifies will qualify for the state meet at Drake Stadium next week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Hopefully we get some good weather for that. But that's it for your news break sports report. When we come back to news break, Alex has your obituary.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast
Hello
Iowa.
and welcome back to Newsbreak. It is now time for your obituaries. Timothy Thomas Tim West of Springdale, Arkansas, passed away on May 4th at the age of 60. Jared Nels Westermark of Washington passed away on May 6th at the age of 75. Celebration of Life will be on May 12th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Jones and Eden Funeral Home. Rosella Molly Mae Bannister of Mount Pleasant passed away on March 5th at the age of 77. The funeral service will be held at 10 a.m. May 13th at NLCC. William Allen Bill Stewart of Washington passed away on May 4th at the age of 78. Celebration of Life services will be held 2 p.m. July 13th at the United Presbyterian Home in Washington. Mary E. Brown of Washington passed away on May 6th at the age of 71. That is your news for Southeast Iowa. I've been your host, Alex Snyder. This has been your news break, and I will see you